Chief International Officer of the Contentment Foundation. She continues to spark joy and inspiration in the time of quarantine by sharing uplifting content on her social pages, empowering others and showing them that they are not alone. So hi guys, welcome to another episode of In Love With Me series promoting mental health. And I am your host, Mafae Velasco. As you can see, I have a beautiful woman that we are going to learn from. She will share her story and I hope that you will enjoy this episode. So without further ado, let me introduce you to my beautiful friend, Anne Espiritu. Hi, Anne.
Hi.
Finally.
Finally.
So this girl, she has such an inspiring story. And I've known for almost 20 years. Can you believe that, Anne?
I
We've
know.
been through thick and thin. And, you know, I'm so happy to have her to inspire everyone this afternoon because this girl has truly inspired me. She's been an ear, a shoulder to me, and I'm sure that we've had this long time relationship where we are able to lean on each other. And I want her to share a little bit of her background with you, just so they can get to know her the way that I did. So Anne, please give us a little bit of a rewind. It doesn't have to be 20 years ago, but give everyone like a little bit of an insight of how you are the empowered woman that you are today.
Wow, the empowered woman. I'm still living up to those standards. First of all, Mafae, I just have to say that I'm so inspired by your ability and capacity to execute. I keep telling you that, but when times when I feel like I'm getting stuck in my own head, you are literally the person that I go to in order to unplug that and to get me to actually live out my greatest potential. So I just want to mirror that back to you, just the gratitude that of like the impact that you've made in my life. Let's see, what is my story? I feel like that's everyone's question these days, right? Like, who am I? What's my story? And I guess I could say that I am a product of the American dream, but have also experienced its broken promises. I was born in the Philippines. Marunong ako mag-Tagalog. I am definitely a Filipina born and spent the first 10 years of my life in the Philippines with my mom, whom I adore so much. And, at the tender age of 11, she decided that she wanted, a better life for us, more than what she has been able to create for herself. So we basically immigrated to the US. And I gotta say, at the age of 11 years old, that's probably the toughest time to move to a different country, because it is the time when you are trying to shape who you are. You don't know who you are. You're trying to discover it. And I was very different from my peers. It's kind of like the typical heroine's journey, right? Like going through struggles in life. And I really felt alone and I felt very different. And it's hard to be different when you are trying to have a deeper sense of belonging. But sure enough, I wanted to make my mom proud, as I think many Filipinas can relate to, especially when you move from a different country and your mom has sacrificed so much, and really try to live out by its like blueprint, the American dream. And I have to say, I actually got quite successful at it. I was able to graduate from a top university, UC Berkeley. I was able to snag a really amazing job at one of the hardest companies to work for, Google. Spent 7 years there and catapulted my career and transitioned to Yahoo, where I became the global communications head there during probably the most tumultuous time of its history. I learned a lot. And I even had a chance to move to New York and, you know, really built an organization from the ground up at one of the, you know, one of probably the highest profile tech startup in New York. And when I moved to New York, I got to say, like, I realized that I had climbed up a tall mountain. You know, as an immigrant, you always strive to make it to the top. But when I got to the top, I looked at myself and I said, I don't recognize this life. I don't want to be in this life. The entire experience for me was I was living out somebody else's life. And so about almost 3 years ago, I made a leap, and I basically said to myself, I'm ready to see what sits in the unknown. And actually, like, I'll say that this is in so many ways so relevant to what people are experiencing right now due to the global pandemic. It's like so scary to be living inside of the unknown. But I got to tell you, after having experienced and really found the courage to go outside of what felt comfortable for me, I found gems. I found myself. I've always been there, but I basically started to align myself with who I truly am. And I think one of the things that I'll say that I think as a humanity we suffer from is to really be our true selves, right? Like, we oftentimes hear that. But I really felt that my journey has been about skinning myself of all the layers and all the masks, and really finding my own voice, my true voice, and, you know, being able to authentically express. And from that moment on, when I made that commitment, everything started to unfold, and I started to feel aligned. I started to experience a deeper understanding of who I am, and felt like with all of the, you know, the everything that existed within the crevices, as much as I want to judge myself as good, bad, or ugly, I started to accept all of that, because it is a, you know, a beautiful part of being human, you know. And the journey has been met with so much healing. The healing that I have experienced in the last 3 years is just magical. And I will tell you that if you are suffering out there and you believe that there's something inside of you that's saying something doesn't feel right, just know that what sits on the other side of that curiosity, and what sits on the other side of you know, of that discovery process, is a life that feels fulfilling, that feels whole, because it is there. Like, we are there. This is available to us. So yeah, so that's a little bit about my journey of many twists and turns.
See, I told you guys, this girl has been through so much, and her aura, her light right now is so amazing. Now that she's the Chief International Officer of the Contentment Foundation, can you just tell us a little bit of what you do at the Contentment Foundation and what it is all about?
Yeah. So 3 years ago, I landed in Bali. So I live in Bali now. I met the CEO of the Contentment Foundation. So in short, we're a nonprofit organization that has built powerful and highly effective tools that are designed to help teachers and students, and pretty soon families as well, to understand, manage, and process their emotions and life experiences. Certainly not something that we are taught at school at all. You know, we are kind of left to our own devices to process our experiences. And when I met the CEO of the Contentment Foundation, when I was traveling to Bali, when I had made this transition in life, and I said, like, I'm just going to open myself up and see what emerges. I traveled back to when I was a child, and how much I desired to understand my experiences, to accept all of the emotions, and to, you know, to feel brave enough to get curious about my own life. And I basically said, like, I want to commit myself to this, because it is such important work, as you know, and what this is all about, there is a mental health epidemic right now that is happening and that's permeating across society. And when I transitioned from being in corporate America, I really wanted to dedicate my life to serving humanity. And what better way to uplift other people, and particularly kids as they're growing up. It is such a confusing time for kids to be growing up. I can't even imagine how it feels for kids to deal with just the openness of the world, right? Like social media and the internet just opened it up. I mean, like Mafae, you and I grew up in a different time, right? Like when the pressure, came just within 30 kids or like 40, 50 kids. Imagine the pressure that kids are experiencing today. And I wanted to take part in being part of the solution. And so I've been with them for 2 years now. It sounds like a lofty title, but as an organization, we really just move into places where we can serve. I am, responsible for managing our work particularly in Bhutan, which is in the Himalayas. But yeah, it's amazing, and I feel so aligned. And in addition to that, I'm also dabbling into coaching and also just using social media as a platform to spread love and light. That's like my platform. I want to spread love and light.
And I'm so proud of you because earlier off cam, we were talking about the last time, it wasn't the last time, but a few years or a year ago, right? We had the conversation.
3 years, 3 years ago.
Yeah, okay, 3 years. I told you that, Anne, you have a powerful voice. Your story alone is just so inspiring. You need to speak. You need to talk to people. I know that you can do it. And fast forward, here you are. You're doing it. I'm so glad that you are, because we need people like you, a lot of people like you, to be empowering others, especially the youth. It's something that I am also passionate about, because you're right. There was a time, I think that's the reason why we're a bit more at ease, is because when we were growing up, we didn't have to worry about people recording us. We didn't have to worry about your social media. Oh, Mafae's doing this. Oh, Anne's doing this. Whereas in today's society, and a conversation I had with, athletes, I had a conversation with Harv, Nick, and Ali, and they were saying that, in a line to The Last Dance with Michael Jordan, is the reason why we're so comfortable in our own skin is because we grew up in a time where we didn't have to think about what others thought, or looking up to people on social media, whether our social media is pretty or not, right? So you touched on that. Right now, for children, they don't know if they should believe one set of news or another post or whatnot. So yeah, I think, do you agree that you had your challenges throughout your life and made you the strong person you are today, that helps you empower others?
Absolutely. This is the gift in our struggles. I think, one thing that I'll just say is, oftentimes, I consider struggles and discomfort and, moments of my own suffering as a way to connect with other people, oftentimes a lot of people will ask me, like, how do you know who you're supposed to support and help and guide and mentor? Well, think about the person from 20 years ago. Think about the person that you were 10 years ago, the areas of your life that you have healed. Those are the people that you want to support, because there is a felt experience in what they are struggling with. So in so many ways, I think that our suffering is a gift. It's so hard, I know, to wrap our heads around that, but our struggles and I just want to say, I think as a humanity, we have to start, my invitation is for us to start reorienting our relationship with discomfort. Discomfort is not there to make us feel terrible about ourselves or create suffering. Discomfort, when we meet discomfort, it means we are growing. It means that you have reached the edge of your potential, and there is an opportunity for us to expand. It's kind of like, it's kind of like a rubber band, right? Like there's going to be resistance there because our minds are going to want to experience comfort. But I have reoriented my relationship with discomfort when it happens to me. I'm like, ooh, all right, yay, okay, let's see, like, where is the wall here, and what is being asked of me to heal, and how can I experience expansion from this point? And once I got that down, once I started to get more comfortable with discomfort, man, the world opened up for me in ways that I cannot tell you. It's amazing. The life that I have manifested and designed and built for myself when I finally took the step to get comfortable being in the unknown and re-establishing a new relationship with discomfort.
Yeah, that's amazing. It does take time to really build a strong core, but in line with that, you're not alone. You don't have to do things or get over certain anxieties alone. There's people like Anne, there's people like, the Contentment Foundation, there's platforms like this that you can reach out to people that can be your cheerleader, cheerleader of life, right? So, and I know both of us, we help a lot of people, we're also sometimes overwhelmed, as humans, we have our off days. So for you, I know that your spirit is high, but when you have those moments, when you have, let's say, you're about to speak and you have no choice but to do it, how do you flip that mindset and tell yourself, okay, come on, we got to do this? Like, what do you do? Do you meditate? Do you have a ritual? You have a prayer?
Well, kind of like what happened 20 minutes ago before I got on here. Yes. As someone who also speaks publicly, I know that like each time you get in front of the camera, there is that anxiety or like there's that fear, right? And, I will tell you that one thing that has largely worked for me, and this is quite universal, is we have to accept the emotion that is surfacing. There is wisdom in every emotion. So for instance, right, like prepping for this moment, I felt a little bit of butterflies in my stomach. I felt the fear. And then the stories in our minds starts to percolate. Oh gosh, like what if she asks me a question that I don't know an answer to? Or what if somebody judges me because for whatever reason, right? Like our minds are there to constantly ruminate. And what I do is, and because this has been a practice and a training for me, I accept all emotions to be there. The suffering stems from trying to get rid of emotional experiences. And if you allow it to sit to be there without creating additional thoughts around it, guess what? Emotions actually go away. There is, a Harvard research scientist out there that suggests that the lifespan of an emotion, if you do not continue to feed it with thoughts or fuel it with thoughts, it goes away within 90 seconds. And here's the thing, I will tell you, emotions are actually a very beautiful part of being a human. Imagine if we didn't have emotions, Mafae. Imagine if we didn't have emotions, right? Like it's like watching TV without the sound or without color. It's like boring, right? So the more that we can accept the whatever emotion is arising, the more that we don't try, if it's an unpleasant emotion, like if you don't actually feed it with thoughts, it actually goes away. But the resistance to the emotion actually fuels it. It's like, what as they say, where our attention goes, energy flows. So if you're saying, I don't want fear, I don't want fear, I don't want fear, I don't want fear, what you're really saying is, I want fear, I want fear, I want fear. So just letting it be there and acknowledging it, wow, that's interesting, labeling the emotion, like launching into just a meditative state, just closing your eyes or gazing somewhere at the bottom and just like, focusing on your breath. Within 90 seconds, it can go away.
I'm going to use that. although, I love roller coaster rides. Maybe that's the reason why I like to put myself in uncomfortable situations. But at the end of the day, I guess it's knowing your why. Why are we doing this? Why are we speaking in public? Why are we, for me, my challenge is catching up with my friends at this time and um, finding the ones that are inspiring to me and sharing them to my students or the people that are watching the episodes. So it's like a two-in-one that allows me to help myself and others, right? I think
Mm-hmm.
you can attest to that, where, like you said, when we have opportunities, we shouldn't shy away,
Mm-hmm.
because if you're blessed with positivity, um, you should grab it, and
Absolutely.
try to fight your mind when it becomes negative, I guess. Because I think the biggest critic, and I always say this to, when I mentor, is that my favorite song is Man in the Mirror by Michael Jackson. In all
Mm-hmm.
honesty, the only person that criticizes you the most and will also, if you allow it, to eat you up is the person you're looking at when you're looking at the mirror, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And
So
I just want to say one thing about that, because I think what you're saying, sharing is so powerful, and I want this to land for people who are watching. Our minds can be our greatest enemy, but it can actually also be our greatest ally. I'll say it again. Our minds are not there to, to harm us, but there are certain thought patterns that have been ingrained because of programming or our childhood or whatever it is, right? That it's become a pattern, a program, if you will. And so to me, my journey in the last 3 years has been mindset training. Our minds are there to constantly think, but this is why mindfulness and meditation is so important, because it's not about like lowering down your thoughts. It's really about learning how to focus your mind, because where our attention goes, energy flows. And so when you have all of these thought patterns that are negative, which is, psychologists will say like that is actually a natural human behavior to do. We always focus on the negative. But if you can train your mind to focus on the positive, guess what? Your experience starts to play out in the way that you think, right? So mindset training is so, so, so important. This is like in so many ways, like my own healing journey has been about actually just training my mind to focus on the things that I want to create for myself. And then you eventually manifest that. This is why, like, I love, like, one of your superpowers, Mafae, above being a fantastic mom and being a multitasker, is your ability to bring an idea into execution. Because why? Why is that important? When you execute on a particular idea, your mind is already your mind's already there. You're not constantly ruminating, should I do this? Should I not do this? What are the bad things? What are the good things? You instantly set your mind in that direction. And so that's why it's so important to practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is definitely a daily practice for me, and to just train our minds. It is our ally. It is truly one of the most powerful tools that we have built in as humans.
yeah, right. For me, I don't know. Maybe my inspiration were my parents. Just seeing them, like you, migrate to a foreign country and just making it. Regardless, they had no choice. It was to have a better lifestyle, I guess, for my brother and I at the time, and seeing them do that. And I guess sometimes, like you were saying, I just execute. Yes, I can admit that I should plan more, but I feel like if I waste time planning and writing things down, it's like I want to do it right now. People are at home right now; they need help right now. So I was, I admitted to Erin earlier that I made my family be part of this project. I had my team also from MMC be part of this project where we just inspire online. We the kids and I have this campaign, Saving Lives Online. So um, projects like this is part of that. Apart from our posting on social media, our personal pages, is it's just I feel like there's this fire that I just had to I gotta get it out. Like I was expressing to you, and you said that the mind is already there, or you're already there. The steps before that, I guess it's taking that action, taking that action and
Mm-hmm.
going through the way, just like how we live our life. We want to do something, we have a bucket list, we have a wish list. But if you don't get up and take action, then how is that list going to be checked off, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I have a question here for you. Someone's asking is, what is your process of overcoming negative thoughts towards negative people? It's work.
Mm-hmm.
That's the main people that we want to help, right?
Yeah.
What do
Yeah.
you do?
So I have to start with compassion. Compassion is what bridges, our differences. Um, and the second piece I'll say about that is that when people are negative, it's not about you. So like, never take it personally. Never take it personally. And if you are triggered by that negative person in some capacity, we have to have the courage to take an accountability over our own triggers, our own emotional triggers. So I always, I coach people about this, that when they are experiencing an emotional activation, so something is stirring inside of them when they're dealing with other people, we have got to stop following the victim mentality and pointing the finger at other people. Because guess what? We have agency over our own, we have to have accountability over our own experiences and our own emotional, activation. And I'll tell you that that's actually a good thing, because if we start to give people the power to make us feel a certain way, we're literally not, it takes the control out of our own capacity. And gone are the days where I'll just speak for myself. When I feel emotionally triggered, I look within and I say, like, why am I feeling this way? What part of the situation is making me feel emotionally triggered? When did I first experience this emotion in my past? Right? Because we have owners. It's I actually have started to pay tribute and thank the catalysts in my life who have emotionally triggered me, because it means that it's our body's way of saying to us, or bringing attention to parts of ourselves that haven't healed. I know this is really hard for people to hear. It's really hard, because like when we are in situations where our spouse or our partner is like triggering us all the time, it's like, no, it's them, like it's got to be them. But we also have to take ownership over our own experiences. And I will tell you that 99% of the time when I have experienced emotional triggers in the last 3 years, I really started to unravel that. And 99% of the time, it was mine to own. It means that it came from a childhood experience where somebody made fun of me and I felt emotionally triggered, because a lot is hidden in our subconscious. The subconscious mind has taken record of experiences that are still playing out in our adult life, right? And the more that we give agency to other people, and start to blame other people, that you're making me feel this way, the more that we cannot heal it, and it will continue to surface over and over and over again until we have enough bravery to actually come face to face with that trigger and start to own up to it, and and start to repattern it. So I'd say, like, triggers are our friends. We've got to start like looking at triggers as a channel for healing.
Yeah, that's such a great, you really put it out there. Okay, so another one. What is the definition of living a meaningful life for you?
Okay, so a meaningful life. So I will say that in the last 3 years, I have transitioned from being a human doing to becoming a full-fledged human being. And what I mean by that is, in the past, I basically compartmentalized my life. And I was so focused on, on doing this for my work and, and traveling and like, and now everything that I do is all about, it's like everything that is within my life structure is all about enriching me as a person rather than acquiring all of these things and feeling fulfilled because of all of the external things that that I've created for myself. These days, like my entire existence orbits, I only work on things that actually bring me fulfillment. And it's taken a little bit of time for me to transition from being a human doing to being a full-fledged human being, but I will tell you it's worth it. And so now I have experienced a deeper sense of understanding of who I am. I don't need external validation any, well, I shouldn't say I don't need, like I'm still healing from that, but I have largely stopped relying on other people to validate that I matter and to create value for myself, because I know that I am an empowered human being, that everything that I want in life is within my reach and within my own capacity. So I just want to reiterate this. We have been created by God as empowered beings. It is our birthright. It's just sometimes oftentimes people give their power away to external validation, that we lose control over our own experiences. But that feeling of having a flourishing existence, that's already in here. And all we have to do is search for it and unleash it and unlock it.
Exactly. Okay, so with that, what is your favorite part about doing what you do? What's the rewarding part for you?
Living in full alignment, I have to say. I have lived quite like with in societal standards, I've lived a pretty successful life. I made it to the top of my industry. I have led organizations, and I will say that there was a part of me that didn't feel aligned because I felt like I had a lack of purpose. And here, today I feel so aligned with the way that I live. And I will tell you that the secret sauce to living a meaningful life too is to cater to your own well-being. I cannot underscore this enough. Like my entire morning, sometimes I'll spend like 4 hours just focused on bringing myself into alignment. I have these things that I call the 3 M's, right? One is like the moment that I wake up, I meet myself exactly where I am. I tune into, okay, how am I feeling right now? Am I feeling tired? Am I feeling, like what emotional state am I living inside of? What is it that, where am I right now? Because sometimes, when you haven't gotten any sleep or something is ruminating in your mind, like you may fall into a default and you're not actually tuning into your body and tuning into where you are. So for me, meeting myself exactly where I am is an important aspect of catering to my own well-being. The second is mindfulness or meditation. Mindfulness allows me to train my thoughts. And when I feel that my thoughts are ruminating in the negative sphere, I basically transition it into, okay, like what am I grateful for? Gratitude is an emotional state that I access a lot because, no matter how crappy life feels, like there is always something to be grateful for. And finally, for me, movement. Movement, that I am all about movement, because movement is, when we are experiencing fear and anxiety and we are not feeling safe in our environment, it means that there is something within our body that we are not feeling safe inside of, right? So movement allows me to move that energy. It allows me to create, yoga has been, a daily practice for me, but it allows me to get into flow and basically feel good and feel safe inside of my body. So meeting myself where I am, mindfulness and movement.
I love that. So that's your mantra, your daily habit, obviously. I'm going to try that. I've been
Yeah.
trying meditation even before talks. Like, I was telling you, the roller coaster ride. So I tried to do that because I learned from another life coach that the reason why she has so much energy all the time is that she has a lot of sleep. Or even she meets a client, she really, just refreshes herself by taking a quick nap. With me, I'm just so energetic that it was a challenge to meditate, but then when I got into it, I really found that it helps so much, even if it's just a 1 minute
Yeah,
meditation.
absolutely.
There's a lot of apps, right? So with you, what do you use for meditation?
Oh, I get into my breath. So I used to suffer from extreme anxiety. Like nobody knows this about me, but you know, I was in PR, so naturally I was in PR, specifically crisis management. So crisis management kind of tosses you into extreme levels of anxiety. So that was kind of the life that I was living. And so our body literally takes record of that, and that becomes your default setting, right? That becomes your default setting. And if you really understand what's actually happening inside of our body, anxiety is actually a good thing, because it signals to us, from a primal perspective, it signals to us that there's a threat. So when there is real threat, that's actually a good thing. Like that, that we have this faculty that allows us to understand, like, run, or freeze, or just like, stay there. So anxiety is a great thing, but continued and perpetual anxiety can really be harmful for our entire well-being. And so, for me, the breath has become the steering wheel to my autonomic nervous system. So for me to actually just regulate my breath, like meaning the the 4 count breathing cycle. I started with 4 count breathing cycle. So it's just like 1, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. That signals to our body that everything is okay. There's no bear that's trying to, maul us. Like literally everything is okay. So I have gone from 4 cycle to 5 breath cycle to now 6, and I'm extending that to 7. If you can every single day find a way to extend your breathing cycle and control your breathing cycle, I promise you, over time, it could be one of the most powerful things in order to take control of those fears and anxiety and stress. Breathing is so important. It is like the one thing that we have with us, but like oftentimes we leave it to panic, like,
Right.
to basically govern the way that we experience life.
Well, it same goes when you do yoga, when you do, workouts. The coaches or the yoga practitioner always says, they always emphasize breathe, breathe, breathe.
Yes.
And it's so important in our lives. Sometimes, yeah, when we have anxiety or feel a certain way, we tend to forget. Hey, just relax, just breathe. The
I
air
mean,
is.
what does a therapist tell you, like when when a client is literally saying like, oh my god, like something's happening, like, okay, what's the first thing they say to you? Breathe. Focus on your breath,
Right.
because it brings you into the present moment.
Mhm.
Right? Like anxiety is oftentimes like worry about something in the past or something in the future. Like it's always anchored in worried about something that hasn't happened yet, or worried about something that has already happened. But it brings us into the present moment, and it also is the faculty that allows our body to recognize, like, oh yeah, she's telling me right now that there is no threat. Okay, I will slow down now. I'm okay.
I love that. I love that definition of worry. Good one, Anne. So okay, let's talk about of course our present situation, being on lockdown, being quarantined. I know that you work a lot with teachers. So at this time, is there more of a challenge for you to really motivate them? Because of course everybody is homeschooled now, so the need of guidance in homes are have increased. So
Mm-hmm.
can you tell me about what's going on with the foundation and how you're helping teachers and families?
Yeah. So while while the whole world has been slowly shutting down, we've actually like ramped up on our work. In large part because the world actually is starting to realize that we need some tools to be able to navigate the reality that we're finding ourselves in, right? Like to start to navigate the emotions and the emotional experiences that people are going through. We are a digital platform, so I mean, like I'll tell you, like nothing has changed in my life. I actually feel like that everything that it's almost as if like the universe has just kind of created space for us to thrive because we are a digital platform. We've largely been dealing with teachers and administrators and students online, right? And never before have we seen the world react in such extreme ways, because rightfully so, like who would have ever thought that we would live through a global pandemic? I mean, this is such a unique time in our history, but I also feel like the the opportunity for us to support humanity right now has never been more important. Like in the past, it's like, yes, everyone has an intellectual understanding that that there is a mental health epidemic, mental illness epidemic that's happening across the world, right? But now people are actually really experiencing it. Like there's no separation between the president or someone who lives in Kentucky, right? Like everybody is experiencing some extreme levels of emotions, and so the tools have actually become all the more important. And so it's opened doors for us in ways that I cannot even tell you. It's amazing, and it's like we've transitioned from these tools as being a nice to have to now a must have. And I feel that that we are entering into a different phase of our history and of the planet, where people are being forced to deal with their stuff. I mean, imagine, Mafae, like we've been taken away of our distractions. Why is that? Because it's the universe's way of like saying no more, no more. Like we're not going to destroy our planet anymore. And guess what? We're going to take away. I'm going to take away the distraction so that you can actually heal from the root. So, these days I find that if you are feeling bored or feeling restless, congratulations, you're one of the lucky ones, because there are people out there that are truly, truly suffering, right? Who have lost their jobs. Take this and really start to face aspects of yourself that's fragmented, and use it as an opportunity to just like deal with that stuff. This is a moment, and we're never going to be able to take it back. I actually am quite sad that the quarantine is going to be over at some point, because I really enjoyed the quiet and to go deeper. And yeah, I feel like this has been, I know that this is quite controversial, but if we can reorient our perspective around the coronavirus as and find the gems and the nuggets and the gift in it, we will evolve and expand.
That's totally right. I mean, I've been speaking to a lot of other guests who are saying that not only are they decluttering their houses or their rooms, they're also decluttering their minds. They're
Mm.
reevaluating what they've done in life. It's like, oh my gosh, I've never really appreciated what I've done, because I have event after event, I have work after work, and then just seeing, pictures and videos on your phones, like, oh my gosh, I did that. And so people are really starting to appreciate, I guess, their joys, their, successes, when at that moment we we lost that. We lost that. Oh, you're really doing something good, but then to you it's just like, no, I just got to earn, or I just have to feed my
Mm-hmm.
family, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's a lot of refreshing for everyone right now. One thing that I'm super proud of Anne is that she is one of the top 40 empowering women in the book of In Her Purpose. Jen and Rose, guys, if you watch
Yeah.
the episode, I did interview Jen and Rose the other day, and they were looking for empowered women who are Filipina or Asian women who are successful in their craft in the States, in the US. And Anne was one of those. So watch out for that book so you can read her story again. I'm excited to read it. But with that, of course, before you became who you are, I'm sure you have people that you looked up to, role models. Who would they be in your life?
Well, I have to say, like, I'm going to take a page out of the traditional book. My mom obviously just found a lot of courage, or found a lot of courage from her, and that's playing out in my life right now. I will tell you that recently I started to dig into my family and my heritage, and I realized that both my grandparents are teachers, and so oftentimes when we think about our own journey, like we think about the kind of the traumas that we have inherited from our grandparents or from our lineage, right? But also it's important for us to look at what are the gifts, what are the gifts that we inherited, and since having discovered that they were teachers, I've been inspired to really figure out how to become a more empowered teacher for myself, like really learning the craft. And I will say to you, and this sounds like super cliche, but my 50-year-old self, my 60-year-old self, what would I want to be like? What would that look like for me in 20 years? And is this someone that, am I working towards becoming that person today? So someone that I aspire to look up to is myself in 5, 10, 15, and 20 years.
And wow, you transition, you have the perfect definition of someone who's been reinventing themselves year after year. Like, even when Nick and I visited you in Google, we were just so amazed. You brought us in a tour of Facebook and Google. We're like, wow, Anne has made it. And then you went and transitioned to Yahoo and be in New York, and then now you're in Bali. It's like, wow, this girl really is living her life to the fullest, the way that she wants to find her true happiness. And I think you're a great testament of just going out there, just do it. You just have to take action of your life, be the leader of it, especially when you're not fulfilled, the true happiness, right, Nan? And I think you're the only one that's going to know and understand that. But it's also okay to reach out to people. It's okay to reach out to, hey, like you said, your mom. Am I doing the right thing? I mean, our moms are strong women that really inspire all of us. I really feel that having a strong woman, could be your mom or your aunt or grandma, you look up to them. You always look up to them and see what they've done. And what you're doing, Anne, so many people are looking up to you. I am really watching your journey of life, and you inspire me. You inspire my daughter. And I'm sure a lot of my students are inspired by you right now. We have one more question before we wrap up. Why do you wake up in the morning? What's your biggest why?
I love life. I love life. And I have no inhibitions about loving life. We have been gifted with one shot in this lifetime. And every single day, we have an opportunity to live it out to our greatest potential. Greatest potential is not in the future. The only way that we will experience our greatest potential is to first experience our greatest potential today, whatever is accessible to us. And so every single day I wake up, and no matter what emotional experience I'm having, I'm just freaking grateful that I get to live out my greatest potential today. It does not live in the future. It is today. And my hope is that if I continue to have that mindset of doing my best every single day, every single moment, then I would have lived out my greatest potential by the time I take my last breath. So I I am so excited about life. And can you imagine? I wake up every day, I'm like, wow, who would have thought that I would be living through a global pandemic? Whoa. Like, what an amazing time to be alive. What an amazing time to be alive. Like you will never experience this kind of life. And so if we continue, it is, but also I just have to say, it's a training. It is a training. I didn't always feel this way. 3 years ago, I was living a life where I was like, oh my God, dreading it every single day. So really training myself to feel grateful. That is an intentional thing that we have to do and to train within our mindset. That's why I'm so big on mindset coaching, because it's all about shifting the mindset, and yeah, that's what I would say.
And you know what? For as long as I've known Anne, 20 years ago, she's always had this vibrant personality in her. And I know that everybody has it too, but she has had challenges. She has her journey of life that was up and down, but she always came over and came on top. And that's what I always loved about your aura and your personality. You always had a strong mindset on what you believed in, and you're in a different level of, I guess, life success for yourself,
Yes.
or well-being. And I'm so glad that I had you on today, because this is definitely the time to inspire and motivate everyone. Of course, Anne, it's her profession now to really go out there and express, a positive mindset, body and soul. So I will make sure that all her information as social media, the Contentment website will be in this caption, so that you can reach out if you need more advice, if you have any more questions. She is more than willing to answer those, most especially right now. Wait, we have to see. Okay, Joy, our really good friend Cortez, is watching us. Hi, Joy.
Hi, Joy.
We miss her too. I know Ember is watching also, and I have some students. Sophia, hi. Nini, Le, hi. My takeaway with Anne today is, I love what you said. Where you put the attention, it grows, and also the energy grows. And I guess I can add emotion grows too. So be careful where you put your energy, right? At the same time, reinvention, educating yourself is what Anne was, expressing earlier. And of course, actions speak louder than words. And you need to get up and act what you want to do. If you want to be happy, you need to get up and make sure you fulfill that. So again, thank you, Anne, for joining me in this episode of In Love with Me, promoting mental health. You're such an ambassador of that, and I'm so proud of you, and to call you my sister all these years. And let's keep inspiring everyone. This is not just the only episode that I will have Anne. We will have more topics. Again, thank you, everyone, and I'll see you in the next episode of In Love with Me with another inspiring guest. Thanks, and
thanks, everyone. Thanks, Mafae. I love you.
Oh my gosh, love you too. Thank you for being on this. Hold on, let me just stop the live stream so we can talk some more.